Welcome to the bold analysis. I'm a very big fan of these street. I don't know. I call them fans. Vox Pop, voice of the people. I really listen into the Vox Pop, voice of the people, and I bumped on a clip that I want us to listen to. The opinions are divided on whether a decision to remove the commissioners is William Ruto going after the commissioners, the ABC commissioners, the Cherera 4, or should he look for Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga? I've also been wondering about this. If these commissioners were favoring Raila is the big person, why is it difficult to go after Raila and Uhuru Kenyatta? It's a very vague question. But this guy puts it, asks some question. Can you listen to it?
Leta Uhuru kotini, weka Raila kotini, tukutane na wewe. Wacha uoga. Wewe ni mtu muoga. Unakujia Cherera ni nani? Ni mtu mdogo sana bwana. Waja. Yangu itakuwa ni machache sana. Na ni kwako rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Wacha uoga. Kama unataka endea Uhuru na Raila kama wewe ni mwanaume. Wacha kusungusha Cherera Masid, wacha kusungusha hawa. Kama wewe ni mwanaume, wacha hao watu wenye walikuwa wanafanyia kazi Raila na Uhuru. Kama wewe ni mwanaume, leta Uhuru kotini, weka Raila kotini, tukutane na wewe. Wacha uoga. Wewe ni mtu muoga. Unakujia Cherera ni nani? Ni mtu mdogo sana bwana. Juzi ulisikia tu kinoti, polisi wakwambia, hebu usiingie hiyo laini Mr. President. Mheshimiwa Rais, wacha uoga. Kama wewe ulikuwa mwanaume, mbona hujaweka kinoti ndani? Yes. Wacha nikwambie Mheshimiwa Rais, hii watu wadogo wachana na wao. Hauwezi kuwakuza na tutasimama na wao. Wednesday tukutane Kamugunji ndio utajua the mighty of the people.
Now, I'm told walikuwa nasema is a challenging guy. Of course they can't, it's not easy. Practically, it's impractical to go after Raila. When you drag Raila's name into it, you sensitize the whole matter and it loses its meaning. In fact, it can't get anywhere. But I want just to address some few things here. That this matter of IBC, we must be very sensitive and we must give it a second thought. I think the way it is being handled, I have seen the process at the parliament going on with the executive, the senior most member of the executive also doing tweeting about the same. Raila Odinga is now standing with the 4 commissioners, and his ground is that the 4 commissioners stood with the truth, and the truth is that the election was rigged. That's what Raila team are saying. But you must also understand that the truth that these people are standing with is the truth that Raila is the fact that Raila's votes, they did not support what Chebukati announced. So is it a point of Raila defending them or just trying to rectify what can be an unconstitutional way of addressing election reforms? Because election in this country is one, the avenue of changing guard, and 2, is the biggest test of our democracy. So the issue about the Chereras, it must be looked deeply. And there are 4 reasons why I'm saying we must look at the Cherera issue deeply. Because people might likely lose interest in our democracy and even abstain from voting in 2027. I know that even in this channel, after elections results came out, of course some some people who supported William Ruto were celebrating, the other people did not. And the dominant narrative was, I'm never going to vote again. I know even today there's still some people who are saying, I'm not going to vote again. And we took it upon ourselves to do a lot of advocacy on the need for you to vote. And by the way, you guys, you need to vote. That's the truth. You need to vote. Don't sit there and say, I'm not going to vote. But when your vote don't count, you can't be on the table. That's normally underrated. That's normally an overrated phrase. Majority will always have their way. So, because people might feel, one thing for many elections in this country that I think the last 4, one denominator that has always come out is elections are never won free and fair. Never won free and fair. And the free and fair aspect, the complaint is normally on the commission. Even this election, of course, people went for Chebukati's head that he bungled the election, especially the fanatics. So people lost interest. And its interest is because people lost interest because of the body. So if there is a body that can regain people's confidence that we need to go and vote, that's the IBC. So we must be very sensitive to it. I know in politics, you can say, I'm going to vote, and you don't care because maybe Gema and Kikuyu, which is your strong vote, are not widely affected, and so they will go to vote in those areas of your opponent, which are not going to be, you are still going to win. It's politically convenient to have that reasoning. But don't you also know that when many people don't vote, for example, we have 22 million people in the register, and only 7 people goes to vote to the ballot. Even if you have majority out of 7, don't you see that legitimacy level goes down? And there is a problem with the system. It will also reach a time where even the 7 million people that were voting for you have also said, we are not voting, there is no need. Because even amongst them, even amongst the competition between, you can also read between yourself. So this thing has to be addressed keenly. And the second thing is we are exposing our electoral system to be prone to infiltration. And we seem to be normalizing it. Oh, things went, there are those assertions that have already happened. Oh, there was this Venezuela, there was that, and there was that. We're not addressing those things. And because an understanding that maybe someone influenced the commission, and someone would sit down and say, okay, if come to Ali influence commission, then me have my interest in Kenya. Why don't I just go and buy that? We will expose ourselves. But when we keep that integrity of that commission, we really know what we're doing. So it must take a bipartisan approach. It must be neutral. It must take a neutral approach. Without that, we are not getting it right. The tragedy is the IBC reforms have been narrowed to the heads of the 4 people. That's the tragedy, that we've narrowed down to Cherera, Ngaya, Masit. No, I don't think when you're talking about election reforms, the problem is what could be seen as the commission is just a policy-making body. By the way, commission is just for policy. The secretariat runs the day-to-day activities. That is why, even if the 4 commissioners were to leave and the others have not been, and they will not be replaced, they can still do a by-election. They have a secretariat, has the head of ICT, has the head of procurement, has the CEO, they have everyone. So the secretariat can always run. What my position is this, that tunafunika macho ya watu by telling the people that we are punishing rogue people and by making sure that the commission is stable by going after the 4. That's not it. The 4 could have been, yes, just stage managed, walk away. But don't we also ask a question, why is it that way? What exactly is the problem? Why did we also listen to the voice of what the 4 are saying? They're saying we were never given chance to be in the verification, we never did this, we never did that, we never this. We need to do an audit. And when we are talking about election reforms, it should not be about going after the individuals. It's not it. That's the face value. The real devil is in the details. The questions we should be talking about is what about our electoral, what about the IT system we used? Did the systems work? Why did we have not to do elections in Mombasa and Kakamega, presidential elections in those days, gubernatorial elections in the same day as those of presidential? Those are the questions you should be talking about. The world best practices that we can employ. And we talk about election reform in a manner that does not seem to be just victimizing people. In fact, when you are actually going after the four, you are just profiling, but not addressing the real problem. The real problem, we need to go into the details. Let's do an audit. And if it's about the individuals, then let audit secretariat and the commission. I said in one of my analysis here that next time tukiandika commissioners, let's not just employ people. Yule ni special IT kwa commission atakuwa na supervise na side ya IT. Kama huyu ni akonini kwa mambo procurement atakuwa na, so that we have people that have gone there for specific roles instead of just having people we've employed as flower girls who you can say majority will go their way. The IBC has a public interest at heart. It has the public interest. It's the custodian of the people's vote. And people understand. So, the rest is, Kenya Kwanza might have a very good ambition to rectify things. But if that ambition is not guided by the principles of democracy, by the principles of the Constitution, it can be misunderstood as autocratic leadership and just divisive approach. And our elections are divisive. Our elections are divisive. There are around 6 million people who support the Chereras. There are others who support Chebukati. That's it. That's it. So these two are emblems of that when ukiwatoa, and by us, just so that breakaway where results are being announced there and these ones are giving press conference there, it already shows that that's where the country broke into two. I agree with President RUTO that what happened did not look good. This country will sink and will go down. The problem here is that we need to look into the real details. We will still have other 7 commissioners, and if we still have a commission that can be infiltrated, we might still be back here. Well, chairman is announcing there is nothing that will stop, or now 2 are not supporting. In fact, not all those elections what I want to support, maybe 2 are with the commission. Even in Supreme Court, there's normally division where there is a decision they can make all of them. In 2017, there was those who supported and those who didn't support, and majority had their way. So we should look at it honestly at IBC. Do we have a situation where it must be unanimous, kila mtu, or do we have also a situation where majority will have their way? Those are the questions you should be asking. It's not about Cherera and the 4. We are narrowing the conversation. The debate is beyond the 2, or rather the 4 individuals. That's my take. Let's meet in the next.